At a family dinner, I saw my daughter-in-law pour something into my glass of juice. I quietly switched my glass with her mother's, and 5 minutes later, something happened that none of them saw coming. Before we continue, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to hear my story. If you're comfortable, let me know where you're listening from and what time it is where you are. Now let me tell you my story. I was standing in my son's kitchen, filling a glass with water when I saw it. Through the doorway to the dining room, I had a clear view of the table where everyone was seated. My daughter-in-law Monica was standing next to my chair. She glanced around quickly, checking to make sure no one was watching. Then she pulled a small vial from her pocket, clear glass about the size of my thumb, and she poured something into my juice glass. My distinctive juice glass with the floral pattern that I always used when I visited, the one Monica knew was mine, because she'd seen me use it dozens of times. She poured maybe 2 milliliters of clear liquid into my orange juice, swirled the glass gently to mix it, then slipped the vial back into her pocket. Then she sat down at the table and started talking to her mother like nothing had happened. I stood frozen in the kitchen, my mind racing. Monica had just poisoned my drink. My daughter-in-law had just tried to poison me. I'm 68 years old. I have a PhD in organic chemistry from Howard University. I taught chemistry at Emory University for 35 years. Specializing in toxicology and pharmacology. I know poisons. I know what they look like, how they work, what symptoms they cause. And I knew, standing in that kitchen, that I had just witnessed an attempted murder. My murder. I took a slow breath, forced myself to think like a scientist, not like a terrified woman. Observe, analyze, act. The liquid Monica poured was clear and watery, not thick like oil, not colored like food dye, just clear. That ruled out a lot of household poisons, ruled out most plant-based toxins. Probably a pharmaceutical, something dissolved in water or alcohol. Monica had checked to make sure no one was watching, which meant premeditation, planning. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment act. And she'd poisoned my glass specifically. The floral glass I always used. This was targeted, intentional, calculated. I needed to act, but I also needed to be smart about it. If I confronted Monica now, she'd deny it. Throw away the vial. Destroy the evidence. Claim I was confused, paranoid, senile. And everyone would believe her over me, because who wants to believe their daughter-in-law is a murderer? No. I needed to be strategic. I walked back into the dining room carrying my water glass, acting completely normal. Sorry, needed some water, I said pleasantly, sitting down at my spot. Monica looked at me, smiled. No problem, Beatrice. Dinner will be ready in just a minute. I looked at the table. My floral juice glass sat in front of me, filled with poisoned orange juice. Next to it was Loretta's glass, Monica's mother, sitting to my right. Her glass was identical except for the pattern. Plain glass, no decoration. Everyone was engaged in conversation. Darnell, my son, was talking to Monica's sister Yasmin about something work-related. Monica and Loretta were discussing some family gossip. No one was watching me. I reached out casually, picked up my floral glass, and in one smooth motion, switched it with Loretta's plain glass. Now the poisoned glass was in front of Loretta. The clean glass was in front of me. I sat back, heart pounding, and waited. Monica brought out dinner, roasted chicken, vegetables, rice. Everyone started eating. 5 minutes passed. Then Loretta reached for her juice glass, the poisoned one, and took a long drink. I watched, my stomach tight with tension. 60 seconds later, Loretta's face went red. She put her hand to her throat, started making a choking sound. Mom? Monica looked over. Mom, are you okay? Loretta tried to speak but couldn't. Her breathing was rapid, wheezing. She clutched at her chest. Then she collapsed forward onto the table, knocking over dishes. Mom! Monica screamed. Oh my God! Mom! Everyone jumped up. Chaos erupted. Darnell ran to Loretta's side. Yasmin was screaming. Monica was crying hysterically. I stood up calmly, pulled out my phone and dialed 911. 911, what's your emergency? We need an ambulance immediately. Woman in her 60s, sudden onset of respiratory distress, tachycardia, possible poisoning or severe allergic reaction. She's conscious but unable to speak. Address is 2847 Brookhaven Lane. Ambulance is on the way. Stay on the line with me. I gave the operator more details while watching Loretta gasp for air on the floor, Monica sobbing over her, Darnell looking terrified and helpless. The ambulance arrived in 7 minutes. Paramedics rushed in, assessed Loretta, started treatment immediately. What did she eat? One paramedic asked. Chicken, vegetables, rice. She drank orange juice about 2 minutes before symptoms started. Any known allergies? Not that I'm aware of. They loaded Loretta onto a stretcher. Monica rode in the ambulance with her. The rest of us followed in cars. At the hospital, they rushed Loretta into the emergency room. We sat in the waiting area. Darnell paced. Yasmin cried. I sat quietly watching, thinking. Monica came out after 20 minutes. Face pale and tear-streaked. They're pumping her stomach. They think she ingested something toxic. They're running tests. What could she have ingested? Yasmin asked. We all ate the same food. I don't know. Monica's voice was shrill. I don't understand what happened. But I saw it. Just for a second. The way Monica's eyes flicked to me, the flash of confusion on her face. She was wondering why I wasn't the one in that emergency room. She'd poisoned my glass. So why had her mother collapsed instead? An hour later, a doctor came out. Monica Thompson? Monica jumped up. Yes. How is she? Is she okay? Your mother is stable. We pumped her stomach and administered activated charcoal. We found elevated levels of digoxin in her system. Digoxin? Monica's face went white. What's that? It's a heart medication. A cardiac glycoside. In therapeutic doses, it's used to treat heart conditions. But in high doses, it's extremely toxic. Your mother ingested a toxic amount. But she doesn't take heart medication, Yasmin said. She doesn't have a heart condition. Exactly. Which means someone gave it to her, or she accidentally ingested it somehow. The doctor paused. The police have been notified. This is a potential poisoning case. Monica sat down hard, looking like she might faint. I sat quietly watching her. She knew what had happened now. She'd poisoned my glass with digoxin. I'd somehow avoided drinking it, and her mother had consumed it instead. But how? When? She was trying to figure it out. And she was panicking. 20 minutes later, a police detective arrived. Middle-aged black man, professional demeanor, sharp eyes. I'm Detective James Wright, Atlanta PD. I need to speak with everyone who was at dinner tonight. He interviewed us one by one. When it was my turn, we sat in a quiet corner of the waiting room. Mrs. Thompson, can you walk me through what happened tonight? We were having family dinner at my son Darnell's house. 6 of us total. We were sitting down to eat when Loretta suddenly started having difficulty breathing and collapsed. Did you notice anything unusual before that? Anything out of the ordinary? I looked directly at him. Not at first, but there's something I need to show you. Something I need to discuss with you privately. Not here. Can you come to my house tomorrow morning? 10 a.m. He raised his eyebrows. What is it you need to show me? Evidence. But I need to document it properly first. I need one night to prepare. Can you trust me on this? He studied my face. You're not in danger? No, I'm safe. But tomorrow I'll explain everything. All right. Give me your address. I wrote it down for him. Before I left the hospital that night, I did one more thing. I asked the nurse if I could see the items they'd bagged as evidence from Loretta's stomach contents and the dinner table. I'm a retired chemistry professor, I explained. I specialized in toxicology. I might be able to help identify the source of the digoxin. The nurse checked with the doctor, who agreed to let me see the evidence bags. There, sealed in a plastic bag, was my floral juice glass, the one Loretta had drunk from. The one Monica had poisoned. This glass, I said carefully. This was the one Loretta drank from? Yes. Why? I need this tested specifically for digoxin. This is critical evidence. The nurse made a note. I went home that night and didn't sleep. Instead, I sat at my dining room table and did what I'd done for 35 years as a professor. I documented everything. I created a timeline. 6:35 p.m. Arrived at Darnell's house. 6:45 p.m. Sat down for dinner, my floral glass filled with orange juice. 6:47 p.m. Went to kitchen for water. 6:47 p.m. Witnessed Monica pouring clear liquid from vial into my floral juice glass. 6:50 p.m. Returned to dining room. 6:52 p.m. Switched my floral glass with Loretta's plain glass. 6:55 p.m. Dinner served. 6:57 p.m. Loretta drank from the poisoned glass originally mine. 6:58 p.m. Loretta showed first symptoms. 7:05 p.m. Ambulance arrived. I drew a seating chart showing exactly where everyone sat, where the glasses were positioned, how easy it was for me to switch them. I took photos of my own identical floral glass at home. Proof that I always used that specific pattern and Monica would have known it. Then I started documenting motive. 3 months ago my husband Leonard died. He left me everything. $1.2 million in life insurance, $800,000 in retirement accounts, our house worth $1,650,000. Total estate, approximately $2.65 million. His will stated clearly everything to me during my lifetime. Upon my death, the estate would be split 60% to our son Darnell, 40% to Leonard's sister Ruth. Monica had been furious about that arrangement. She'd been pressuring me for months to update the will and cut Ruth out entirely. Ruth doesn't need the money, Monica had argued. She has her own money. Darnell is Leonard's son. He should get everything. I'd refused. Ruth was Leonard's sister. He wanted her taken care of. I'm honoring his wishes. Monica had become increasingly hostile after that. And I knew because Darnell had mentioned it, that Monica and Darnell were drowning in debt. Credit cards, car loans, medical bills from fertility treatments. They were desperate for money. And the only way Monica could get it was if I died and Darnell inherited. That was the motive. I documented all of it, printed out bank statements showing their debt, saved text messages from Monica pressuring me about the will. By the time Detective Wright arrived at my house the next morning at 10 a.m., I had a complete case file spread across my dining room table. Detective Wright, thank you for coming. He looked at the table covered in documents, timelines, photographs. Mrs. Thompson, what is all this? This, I said, is evidence that my daughter-in-law tried to murder me last night. She poisoned my juice glass with digoxin. I witnessed her do it. I switched my glass with her mother's glass. That's why Loretta collapsed instead of me. Detective Wright stared at me. I walked him through everything. Showed him the timeline, the seating chart, the photographs of my distinctive floral glass. I saw Monica pour approximately 2 milliliters of clear liquid from a small vial into my juice glass at 6:47 p.m. Based on the symptoms Loretta displayed, rapid heartbeat, respiratory distress, red face, collapse and the hospital's confirmation of digoxin poisoning, I'm certain that's what Monica used. Why didn't you tell me this last night? Because I needed to document it properly. Monica will deny everything. I needed to create a clear, irrefutable timeline. I needed to show you motive. I needed to give you a case you can actually prosecute. Detective Wright sat down slowly, looking at all the evidence I'd laid out. Mrs. Thompson, what's your background? PhD in organic chemistry from Howard University. I taught at Emory University for 35 years. I specialized in toxicology and pharmacology. I've published 47 peer-reviewed papers on drug interactions and poisoning mechanisms. I've testified as an expert witness in 12 criminal trials involving poisoning. You're a toxicology expert. Yes. When I saw Monica pour something in my drink, my training kicked in immediately. I observed, analyzed, and acted. Switching the glasses saved my life and created evidence of Monica's intent to murder me. Detective Wright looked at me with new respect. You saved your own life and built a case against your would-be murderer. That's impressive. I did what I was trained to do. Think scientifically. Now I need you to help me prove it. What do you need? The juice glass, my floral glass, needs to be tested for digoxin. I'm certain it will test positive. That proves someone poisoned that specific glass. Combined with the seating chart showing it was my designated glass and my testimony that I witnessed Monica poisoning it, we can prove her intent to kill me specifically. I'll get forensics on it immediately. What else? Monica had to obtain digoxin somewhere. It's a prescription medication. She either stole it, bought it illegally, or somehow acquired it fraudulently. You need to trace that. We'll check her medical records, pharmacy records, and we'll search her house. And you need to establish motive. I've documented the financial pressures, her obsession with my will, her anger about Ruth's inheritance. She saw killing me as the solution to all her problems. Detective Wright gathered up all my documentation. Mrs. Thompson, I have to say most victims don't hand me a complete case file. Most victims don't have PhDs in toxicology. He smiled grimly. Fair enough, I'll be in touch. Over the next week, the investigation moved quickly. Forensics tested the floral juice glass. Positive for digoxin at toxic concentration. They tested the plain glass I'd switched it with. Clean. They tested the juice pitcher. Clean. Monica had poisoned only that specific glass. My glass. Detective Wright obtained a warrant and searched Monica and Darnell's house. In Monica's bathroom, hidden in the trash wrapped in tissue paper, they found an empty vial labeled digoxin 0.25 mg tablets. Monica's fingerprints were all over it. They also seized Monica's laptop and phone. Her search history from the past 2 weeks was damning. Digoxin overdose symptoms. How much digoxin is lethal? Digoxin poisoning in elderly people. Can digoxin poisoning be detected? How to make death look like heart attack. Untraceable poisons for elderly. Inheritance law, Georgia. She'd researched it, planned it, calculated it. This wasn't a sudden impulse. This was premeditated murder. But Detective Wright called me with a problem. We can prove Monica poisoned someone. We can prove she poisoned the glass you normally use. But her lawyer is going to argue she was trying to poison her own mother, not you. Unlikely but possible. We need to definitively prove you were the target. Have you established how she obtained the digoxin? Working on it. We're checking pharmacies, online purchases, everything. Check with Loretta. Ask if she has any family members who take digoxin for heart conditions. Monica may have stolen it from someone. Detective Wright called me back 2 hours later. You were right. Loretta's sister Patricia takes digoxin for a heart condition. Monica visited her 2 weeks ago. Patricia's prescription went missing that day. She thought she'd lost it, filed a report with the pharmacy for a replacement. But Monica stole it. So now you can prove she obtained digoxin through theft, researched how to use it to kill and administered it to my glass specifically. Combined with financial motive to kill me, that's first-degree attempted murder. We're building the case, but I want to bring in more expertise. Do you have any contacts in forensic science who could strengthen our case? I smiled. Actually, I do. My brother. I called Raymond that afternoon. My brother Raymond is 70 years old, 5 years older than me. He's retired now, but he spent 30 years with the FBI. Raymond, I need your help. What's wrong, B? I told him everything. The poisoning attempt. The switched glasses. The evidence I'd gathered. My God. Monica tried to kill you. Yes, and I need forensic analysis to make the case airtight. Can you help? Send me everything you have. I'll call in some favors. Raymond had spent his FBI career in the forensic science division. He knew everyone: toxicologists, forensic chemists, document examiners, digital forensics experts. I sent him all my documentation, the police reports, the evidence photos. He called me back the next day. I've been through everything. Your analysis is sound. This is clearly attempted murder of you specifically, not Loretta, but I want to strengthen the case. I'm bringing in my former colleagues to do additional analysis. What kind of analysis? First, we're going to do a complete toxicology workup on the digoxin concentration in your glass. We'll determine exactly how much she put in there and whether it would have been lethal for a woman your age and weight. Good. Second, we're tracing the purchase of that vial. Even though she stole the pills from Patricia, she had to buy the vial somewhere. It's a specific type, pharmaceutical grade. We'll trace it. Excellent. Third, we're analyzing her digital footprint. Not just her search history, but cell phone location data, credit card purchases, any online pharmacy accounts. We'll find every piece of evidence showing premeditation. Thank you, Raymond. You're my sister. Nobody tries to kill my sister and gets away with it. Raymond coordinated with Detective Wright and the FBI lab. They analyzed the digoxin concentration, approximately 2 milligrams in my glass. For a woman my age and weight, 334 milligrams is potentially lethal. Monica had given me a sublethal dose. Why? The FBI toxicologist explained. She was planning to poison you gradually over several days or weeks. One sublethal dose wouldn't kill you immediately, but would make you sick. Then another dose a few days later. Eventually, you'd die of what looked like heart failure. Very clever, very hard to detect. But because I switched glasses and Loretta only drank from that one glass, only got that one partial dose, Loretta survived. Exactly. If you'd drunk from that glass and Monica had continued poisoning you over time, you'd be dead within a week or two. They traced the vial. Monica had purchased it from an online pharmacy that shipped from overseas. She'd used cryptocurrency to try to hide the transaction. But cryptocurrency transactions are traceable if you know what you're looking for. They found the purchase 3 weeks ago. Monica had bought pharmaceutical-grade glass vials and syringes. Premeditation. They also found something else. Monica's cell phone location data showed she'd been to a public library 2 weeks ago. Why was that significant? Because library computers showed someone had logged in and searched for untraceable poisons, and how to kill someone and make it look natural. The IP address matched the library. The timestamp matched when Monica's phone was at that location. She'd tried to be clever using a public computer instead of her home computer to avoid leaving a trail. But she'd forgotten her phone would place her at that location. Amateur mistake. While the investigation continued, Detective Wright also brought in a forensic accountant named Maria Gonzalez. I'd given him the documentation about Monica's financial situation, but I didn't know the full extent. Maria spent a week going through Monica and Darnell's finances. What she found was worse than I'd known. Total debt $195,000, credit cards $85,000, car loans $60,000, medical bills from fertility treatments $40,000. But that wasn't all. Maria discovered Monica had secretly applied for a $50,000 loan using my identity. She'd forged my signature on the application, used my social security number, listed my income and assets. The loan was still pending, hadn't been approved yet because the bank was verifying information. But it was identity theft. Fraud. Another felony. Maria also found that Monica had tried to access my bank accounts online 14 times in the past month. She'd gotten my account numbers somehow, probably from papers at my house or from Darnell's knowledge of my accounts. She'd tried to log in, but my two-factor authentication stopped her every time. But the attempts were documented. 14 times she'd tried to steal from me. Maria uncovered something else. Monica had consulted with 3 different estate attorneys in the past 2 months. She'd asked them all the same questions. Can a will be contested? How do you remove a beneficiary from a will? What if the deceased spouse is incompetent to make decisions? She was shopping for an attorney who would help her contest Leonard's will and cut Ruth out of the inheritance. None of them had agreed to take her case. There was no legal basis for contesting the will. But the consultations were documented. More evidence of obsession with my money. And then Maria found the big one. Monica had taken out a $250,000 life insurance policy on me. She'd done it online through a shady insurance company that didn't require medical exams for policies under $300,000. She'd forged my signature on the application, listed herself as the beneficiary. If I died, Monica would receive $250,000 immediately, separate from Darnell's inheritance. Plus, if I died, Darnell would inherit 60% of my $2.65 million estate. That's $1.59 million. Total amount Monica stood to gain from my death. $1.84 million. That was the motive. She wasn't just greedy. She was desperate and saw murdering me as the solution to all her financial problems. This is first-degree murder for financial gain, Maria told Detective Wright and me. She researched it, planned it, obtained the weapon and attempted to execute it. The only reason she failed is because Beatrice outsmarted her. 4 weeks after the poisoning attempt, Monica was arrested. Detective Wright and 2 other officers showed up at her house with a warrant. Monica Thompson, you're under arrest for attempted murder, assault, fraud and identity theft. Monica's face went white. What? This is insane. I didn't do anything. You poisoned your mother-in-law's juice glass with digoxin. We have evidence. You have the right to remain silent. They read her Miranda rights and handcuffed her. Monica screamed the entire way to the police car. This is wrong. I didn't poison anyone. Why would I poison my own mother? At the police station, Detective Wright interrogated her. I was allowed to observe through the one-way glass. Raymond was with me. Monica's lawyer was present. A court-appointed public defender who looked overwhelmed. Mrs. Thompson, we have evidence that you poisoned a glass of orange juice at dinner on September 15th. That glass was consumed by your mother, Loretta Hayes, who nearly died from digoxin poisoning. What do you have to say about that? I didn't poison anyone. This is ridiculous. Detective Wright laid out a photo, the floral glass, bagged as evidence. This glass tested positive for toxic levels of digoxin. This is the glass your mother drank from. Do you recognize it? That's Beatrice's glass. She always uses that pattern. Exactly. This was Beatrice Thompson's glass. The glass she always uses when she visits, and someone poisoned it. Monica's lawyer whispered to her urgently. I don't know anything about that, Monica said, but her voice was shaking. We found this in your bathroom trash. He showed her a photo of the empty digoxin vial. Your fingerprints are all over it. That's not mine. We traced the purchase. You bought pharmaceutical vials from an overseas pharmacy 3 weeks ago using cryptocurrency. We have the transaction records. Monica's face was pale and sweating now. We also have your computer search history. How much digoxin is lethal? Digoxin poisoning in elderly people. Untraceable poisons. You researched this extensively. That doesn't mean we have your cell phone placing you at the public library where someone searched for how to kill someone and make it look natural on the library computers. Same day, same time. Monica's lawyer looked sick. And we have financial records showing you're $185,000 in debt. That you tried to steal from Beatrice Thompson's bank accounts 14 times. That you forged her signature on a loan application. That you took out a life insurance policy on her without her knowledge. Detective Wright leaned forward. Monica, you had motive, financial desperation. You had means. You stole digoxin from Patricia Hayes. You had opportunity. You were alone with the glasses at dinner. And we have witnesses. What witnesses? Nobody saw anything.
Beatrice Thompson saw you.
She witnessed you pouring something from a vial into her juice glass. She has a PhD in toxicology. She's an expert in poisons. She recognized what you were doing immediately. Monica's eyes went wide. She also switched her glass with your mother's glass. That's why Loretta drank the poison instead of Beatrice. That's why your mother nearly died instead of your intended victim. No, that's not. She couldn't have. Beatrice Thompson is a chemistry professor who specialized in toxicology for 35 years. You tried to poison a poison expert. That was your first mistake. Monica started crying. You don't understand. We needed the money. We're drowning. The debt, the bills, everything. It's not fair that Beatrice has millions and we have nothing. So you decided to kill her? She's old. She's already lived her life. We're young. We have our whole lives ahead of us. That money should be ours. Darnell is Leonard's son. He deserves his father's money. And you deserve to spend the next 25 years in prison thinking about your choices. The interrogation was over. Monica had essentially confessed. Her lawyer tried to walk it back. She's emotional, she didn't mean it that way, but the damage was done. Combined with all the physical evidence, the financial evidence, the witness testimony, the case was overwhelming. The hardest part was watching my son Darnell process all of this. I met with him a few days after Monica's arrest. We sat in my living room, the same room where I'd documented the case against his wife. Mom, I swear I didn't know. I had no idea she was planning anything like this. I believe you, sweetheart. She talked about the money all the time. About the inheritance. About how unfair it was that Aunt Ruth gets 40%. But I told her to drop it. That it was your decision. I never thought she'd actually. He put his head in his hands and cried. She tried to kill you, Mom. My wife tried to murder my mother. I put my arm around him. I know. I'm so sorry. Did you really switch the glasses? Did you really see her poison you? Yes. I saw her pour digoxin into my juice glass. I'm a chemist, Darnell. When I saw what she was doing, my training kicked in. I switched the glasses to save my own life. But that meant Loretta got poisoned instead. It was a sublethal dose. Loretta survived. If I'd drunk from that glass and Monica had continued poisoning me over time, which was her plan, I'd be dead right now. Darnell looked at me with horror. She was going to poison you slowly? Over time? That's what the FBI toxicology analysis shows. The dose in my glass wasn't immediately lethal. It would have made me sick. Then she'd give me another dose a few days later. Eventually I'd die of what looked like heart failure. Very clever. Except she didn't account for the fact that I'm an expert in exactly this kind of poisoning. How did you stay so calm? When you saw her poison your drink, how did you not panic? I didn't have time to panic. I had to think, observe, analyze, act. That's what scientists do. And my knowledge saved my life. Darnell was quiet for a long moment. I'm filing for divorce. Immediately, I can't be married to someone who tried to kill my mother. I understand. And I'll testify against her. Whatever the prosecution needs. I'll tell them everything. Her obsession with the inheritance. Her anger about Aunt Ruth. Her constant pressure to get you to change the will. All of it. That will help convict her. Good. She deserves to go to prison for a very long time. We sat together, father and son, both of us trying to process how someone we'd loved and trusted had become a monster. The trial was held 8 months later. Monica was charged with attempted murder in the first degree of me, aggravated assault of Loretta, identity theft, forged loan application and insurance policy, fraud, illegal insurance policy. The prosecution had an overwhelming case. I testified as both a victim and an expert witness, something unusual but allowed because of my qualifications. I explained what I saw. I witnessed Monica Thompson pour approximately 2 milliliters of clear liquid from a small pharmaceutical vial into my orange juice glass at approximately 6:47 p.m. on September 15th. Based on my expertise in toxicology and based on the symptoms displayed by the victim who drank from that glass, I immediately recognized this as digoxin poisoning. Mrs. Thompson, the prosecutor asked, can you explain to the jury what digoxin is and how it works? Digoxin is a cardiac glycoside used to treat heart conditions. It works by affecting the sodium-potassium pump in heart cells, which increases the force of heart contractions. In therapeutic doses, it's helpful. In toxic doses, it causes dangerous heart arrhythmias, respiratory distress, and potentially death. And what symptoms did you observe? Loretta Hayes, who consumed the poisoned juice, displayed classic symptoms of digoxin toxicity: rapid heartbeat, difficulty breathing, facial flushing, and collapse. These symptoms began approximately 60 seconds after ingestion, which is consistent with acute digoxin poisoning. How did you know what dose had been administered? I observed Monica pour approximately 2 milliliters of liquid into the glass. Later forensic analysis confirmed the glass contained approximately 2 milligrams of digoxin. For a woman my age and weight, that's a sublethal dose. For most people, 3 to 4 milligrams is potentially fatal. Why would someone give a sublethal dose? To avoid immediate death. If I had consumed that dose and died immediately, an autopsy might detect the digoxin, but if I consumed sublethal doses over several days or weeks, I would gradually sicken and eventually die of what appeared to be natural heart failure. It's a method designed to avoid detection. The prosecutor showed the jury the evidence: the poisoned glass, the vial with Monica's fingerprints, the search history, the financial records. Then they called Darnell to testify. My son testifying against his wife. Mr. Thompson, did your wife Monica ever discuss your mother's will with you? Yes. Constantly. She was obsessed with it. What did she say? She said it was unfair that my mother's estate would be split with my Aunt Ruth. She said my father's money should go entirely to me, not to my aunt. She pressured me to pressure my mother to change the will. Did you pressure your mother? No. I told Monica it was my mother's decision and she needed to respect it. We fought about it all the time. Did Monica ever make comments about what would happen if your mother died? Darnell's voice cracked. Yes. She said things like, when Beatrice dies and after we inherit the money, and we just need to wait. I told her to stop talking like that, but she wouldn't. Did she ever suggest harming your mother? Not directly, but looking back now, she asked me about my mother's health constantly. Whether she had heart problems, whether she took medication, what her daily routine was. I thought she was just concerned, but now I realize she was gathering information to plan this. The prosecutor showed him the forged insurance policy. Did you know your wife had taken out a life insurance policy on your mother? No, I had no idea. I never would have allowed that. This policy would have paid Monica $250,000 upon your mother's death. Combined with your inheritance, 60% of a $2.65 million estate. That's $1.84 million total. Were you aware of this financial incentive to harm your mother? No, I swear I didn't know. The defense tried to argue that Monica was mentally ill, that her financial stress had caused a break from reality, that she didn't fully understand what she was doing. They brought in a psychiatrist who testified about the psychological effects of debt stress. But the prosecution countered with the evidence of premeditation, the research, the theft of digoxin, the purchase of vials, the careful planning of sublethal doses. This wasn't a moment of insanity, the prosecutor argued. This was a calculated, cold-blooded murder plot that took weeks to plan and would have succeeded if not for the fact that the intended victim happened to be one of the country's leading experts in toxicology. They also called Loretta to testify. Monica's mother, still recovering from the poisoning, weak but determined. Mrs. Hayes, did your daughter Monica ask you about heart medication? Yes. About 3 weeks before the dinner, she asked if I had any digoxin she could borrow. Said she was having heart palpitations and needed something until she could see a doctor. I told her I don't take digoxin. I don't have heart problems. What did she say? She kept asking, got really insistent. I thought it was strange, but I figured she was just anxious about her health. Did she ask anyone else? Yes. She asked my sister Patricia. Patricia takes digoxin for her heart condition. And what happened? Monica visited Patricia 2 weeks before the dinner. Patricia's digoxin prescription disappeared that day. Patricia thought she'd lost it, filed a report with the pharmacy. But now we know Monica stole it. How does that make you feel, knowing your daughter stole medication from your sister and then used it to poison you? Loretta started crying. She's my daughter, I love her. But what she did, it's unforgivable. She tried to kill Beatrice, and she almost killed me. I don't know who she is anymore. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. They came back with a verdict, guilty on all counts. At sentencing 2 months later, the judge looked directly at Monica. Mrs. Thompson, you planned and attempted to execute the murder of your mother-in-law for financial gain. You researched poisons. You stole medication. You carefully calculated doses designed to cause a slow, painful death that would appear natural. You showed no remorse, only anger that your intended victim outsmarted you. You also accidentally poisoned your own mother and showed more concern about being caught than about her survival. You are a danger to society. You are motivated purely by greed. And you will serve significant prison time. I hereby sentence you to 25 years for attempted murder, 10 years for aggravated assault to run concurrent, and 5 years for fraud to run concurrent. Total sentence, 25 years in state prison. You will be eligible for parole after 18 years. Monica was led away screaming about how it wasn't fair, about how I had so much money and wouldn't share, about how Darnell deserved his father's inheritance. She still didn't understand, still didn't see herself as the villain. She saw herself as the victim of an unfair system where I had wealth and she didn't. I watched her go and felt nothing but sadness. Sadness that my son had married this person. Sadness that greed had corrupted her so completely. Sadness that she'd chosen murder over simply living within her means. 1 year after the trial, my life had settled into a new normal. I was 69 now, still living in my house, the $650,000 house Monica had wanted so badly. I still had my $2.65 million estate intact. Monica never got a penny of it. I updated my will after the trial. Now it split the estate 70% to Darnell, 30% to Ruth. I'd increased Darnell's share as a reward for standing by me and testifying against Monica. I also added a clause: if anyone contests this will or attempts to harm me to accelerate their inheritance, they are automatically and completely disinherited. Darnell had divorced Monica and rebuilt his life. He got a better job with higher pay, paid off the debt that Monica had accumulated, and was dating someone new. A nice woman named Jennifer who I'd thoroughly vetted before I gave my approval. I wasn't taking any chances this time. Darnell and I were closer than ever. He visited twice a week. We had dinner together. We talked about everything. I'm so sorry I brought her into our lives, he said once. You didn't know who she really was. None of us did. But I should have seen it. The way she talked about money. The way she pressured you. I should have protected you. You did protect me. You testified against her. You chose me over her. That took courage. Loretta had also become a regular visitor. She and I had bonded over our shared trauma, both of us nearly killed by Monica's greed. I raised her, Loretta said over coffee one afternoon. I thought I taught her right from wrong, but somewhere along the way, she became someone I don't recognize. You're not responsible for her choices. She's an adult. She made her decisions. But I keep asking myself, where did I go wrong? What did I miss? Some people are just wired differently. They see the world as something that owes them. No amount of good parenting can fix that if they don't want to change. Loretta nodded sadly. I've stopped visiting her in prison. She just screams at me about how this is all your fault, how you're the villain. She still doesn't see what she did wrong. Then she hasn't learned anything. I also started doing advocacy work. I spoke at legal conferences about elder financial abuse, something that's far more common than people realize. Family members are often the perpetrators, I told audiences. My daughter-in-law tried to murder me for my inheritance. She researched poisons, planned carefully, and would have succeeded if not for my specific expertise in toxicology. But most elderly people don't have PhDs in chemistry. Most people wouldn't recognize the symptoms of digoxin poisoning. Most people wouldn't think to switch their glass with someone else's. So what can you do to protect yourself? First, be aware that family members can be predators. Don't dismiss suspicious behavior just because it's coming from someone you love. Second, document everything. If someone is pressuring you about your will, document it. If someone is asking strange questions about your health or medications, document it. Third, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. I saw Monica pour something in my drink, and I trusted what I saw. I didn't rationalize it away, I acted. And fourth, protect your estate legally. Use contest clauses in your will. Make sure your beneficiaries are clearly stated and your wishes are documented. Make it hard for someone to profit from murdering you. The audiences always had questions. How did you stay so calm when you realized someone was trying to poison you? Training. I've spent 35 years teaching chemistry and toxicology. When I saw Monica pour that liquid into my glass, my scientific brain took over. I observed, analyzed, and acted based on evidence, not emotion. Do you think Monica will ever feel remorse? No, she's still blaming me for her choices. She still sees herself as the victim. Some people never take responsibility for their actions. Would you ever forgive her? I thought about that question carefully. Forgiveness is complicated. I don't hate her. I feel sorry for her. She threw away her life for money she was never going to get. But do I forgive her for trying to murder me? For nearly killing her own mother? For causing my son so much pain? No. Some actions are unforgivable. I also started teaching again, not full-time but as a guest lecturer. I taught a seminar at Emory, my old university, on forensic toxicology and criminal justice. I used my own case as the teaching example, anonymized somewhat, but with all the relevant details. How many of you think you'd recognize if someone was trying to poison you? I asked the class. A few hands went up. The truth is, most people wouldn't. Poisoning is insidious. It's hidden. The victim often doesn't realize what's happening until it's too late. But there are signs. Unusual tastes in food or drinks. Sudden illness after eating. Someone showing too much interest in your medications or health conditions. Someone pressuring you about your will or insurance policies. In my case, I had several warning signs I ignored at first. My daughter-in-law was obsessed with my will. She asked invasive questions about my health. She pressured me to change my estate plan. I dismissed these as just greed, just annoying behavior. I didn't see them as precursors to attempted murder. But when I saw her physically pour something into my drink, I couldn't dismiss that. That was the moment I had to act. A student raised her hand. How did you switch the glasses without anyone seeing? Everyone was distracted. Engaged in conversation, I moved quickly and naturally. It looked like I was just reaching for my drink. And you didn't warn the other person, Loretta, that the glass was poisoned? I didn't have time. And I didn't know for certain what was in the glass yet. I knew something had been added, but I didn't know if it was poison, a sedative, or something else. My priority was removing myself from danger. The unfortunate consequence was that someone else consumed it instead. Do you feel guilty about that? I feel sorry that Loretta was hurt, but I don't feel guilty for saving my own life. The person responsible for Loretta's poisoning is the person who put poison in the glass. Monica, not me. After class, a young woman approached me. She looked nervous. Professor Thompson, can I ask you something privately? Of course. We stepped into the hallway. My grandmother is in a similar situation. Her daughter-in-law is pressuring her about her will, asking about her medications. My grandmother is scared but doesn't know what to do. I took out a business card and wrote a name and number on the back. This is Detective James Wright. He handled my case. Tell your grandmother to call him if she sees anything suspicious. Tell her to document everything. And tell her to trust her instincts. Thank you. I will. And one more thing, if she ever sees someone put something in her drink or food that wasn't supposed to be there, she should not consume it. She should preserve it as evidence and call the police immediately. Don't taste it, don't touch it, just preserve it and call for help. The young woman nodded, tears in her eyes. Thank you so much. That's what I did now. I used my experience, my expertise, and my survival to help other people protect themselves. Because Monica wasn't unique, there are thousands of people like her. People who see elderly family members as obstacles between them and money. People who are willing to kill for inheritance. And most of those elderly victims don't have the expertise I have. They don't recognize the signs. They don't know how to protect themselves. So I taught them. I spoke. I wrote. I consulted with law enforcement on elder abuse cases. I turned my near-death experience into something that could help others. 2 years after the poisoning, I was at home on a Saturday morning when my doorbell rang. I looked through the peephole and saw Darnell standing there with a woman I didn't recognize. I opened the door. "Mom, this is Jennifer, my girlfriend. We've been dating for a year. I wanted you two to officially meet." Jennifer smiled warmly. "Mrs. Thompson, it's so nice to finally meet you properly. Darnell talks about you all the time." I invited them in. We sat in the living room and talked. Jennifer was a high school science teacher. Smart, kind, financially stable. Most importantly, she had no interest in my money. "Darnell told me what happened with Monica," Jennifer said. "I just want you to know I think you're incredibly brave and incredibly smart. Using your chemistry knowledge to save your own life. That's amazing. Thank you. It was just training. When you spend 35 years studying poisons, you recognize them when you see them. I teach chemistry to 10th graders. I'm definitely going to use your story as an example of why chemistry matters in real life." I smiled. I liked her. After they left, I called Raymond. "I met Darnell's new girlfriend today, and she's good. Really good. Smart, stable, genuinely kind. I think this one might be the one." "Good. He deserves happiness after everything Monica put him through." "We all do." I sat on my back porch that evening watching the sunset, thinking about the past 2 years. Monica had tried to kill me and failed. She was in prison now, serving 25 years. Loretta had survived and recovered. Darnell had rebuilt his life. And I had turned my near-death experience into advocacy that was helping others. In a strange way, Monica's attempt on my life had led to something positive. Not just my survival, but my renewed purpose. I was teaching again. Speaking again. Helping people. Using my expertise to prevent other Monicas from succeeding where mine had failed. And that felt good. It felt like justice. Not just the legal justice of Monica in prison, but the deeper justice of using evil for good. Taking what was meant to destroy me and turning it into something that protected others. That's what survival means. Not just staying alive, but thriving despite what tried to kill you. And I was thriving. At 69 years old, with $2.65 million in assets, a son who loved me, new friends, and a renewed purpose, I was living my best life. The life Monica had tried to take from me. But she'd failed. Because she'd underestimated me. She'd seen an elderly woman with money and thought I'd be an easy target. She didn't know I had a PhD in chemistry. She didn't know I was an expert in the exact type of poison she'd chosen. She didn't know I'd spent 35 years teaching toxicology. She thought she was smarter than me. She was wrong. And that mistake cost her everything. While I kept everything. My life. My money. My family. My purpose. All because I'd trusted my training. Stayed calm under pressure, and switched a glass. One simple action that saved my life and destroyed hers. That's the power of knowledge. That's the power of staying calm. That's the power of trusting yourself when something feels wrong. Monica tried to poison me. I poisoned her plan instead. And I'd do it again.